When making decisions on the board, I consider all stakeholders. As a community member, I know it's important to have strong public schools. So not only do we want to listen to parents and guardians, we also want to listen to the students who are in those schools. We want to listen to the business community in Springfield, and just also residents who live in our community. We also want to listen to the educators and the teachers who are boots on the ground in our school. So it's important that I listen to all key stakeholders. I also listen to other members of my board because they bring unique qualities to the board that I may not bring. So it's important that we're collaborating together when we're making decisions. Ultimately, I also look to the superintendent and her team because she is the expert in many of these items, but I want to listen to the community to see if there's continuing themes that we're seeing at the board level that we need to address at that board table.
Yeah, so the stakeholders that are obviously in consideration is the first stakeholder is obviously the kids. Every decision that you make has got to help these children do better in their academics, period. If it takes away from the academic excellence, takes away from the academic achievement, we need to strongly consider if that should be in our schools or not. Also the teachers as well. I believe that all parts of the school district, from the board to the administration to the site leadership to the support staff on the actual site as well, is really and should be built to serve the teachers. The teachers are the ones that are went into debt to serve our community. They're the ones that are putting their life on the line, unfortunately, in our schools lately to teach these kids the academics, the reading, the writing, the arithmetic, the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. And so the teachers are absolutely paramount. That is the front lines of education. They're the ones that are implementing all the education that everything else is sort of built to support. So that's super important. Obviously, the parents need to have complete communication, and they're a stakeholder with their kids. They're the ones that are ultimately going to decide to keep their kids in our district or take them to private schools or take them out of our district. So that's obviously an important stakeholder. And then the community at large. We got to understand there's 24,500 students coming out of SPS, that are in SPS currently. These are the future leaders, the future accountants, the future tradesmen, the future tradeswomen, the future, entrepreneurs, everything. So, having them with a clear path of what is that next step, whether it be a trade, a trade sort of apprenticeship, whether it be furthering their education, whether it just be a job simply. These individuals, we want them to stay in our community and produce and use their skills to make Springfield awesome. That's what I did when I graduated from Kickapoo. I went to Missouri State, and I started multiple companies over the last several years, and SPS had a lot to do with that.
The stakeholders that we need to address is the community. We need information from the students. Who knows the students better? The teachers, the administration, the counselors, meaningful adults. Once we talk about the school, then we're talking about the neighborhood associations, the PTA meetings. Anyone that has insight would be, in my opinion, to be a stakeholder. A stakeholder would have an opinion. I'm sure they are only interested in the best interest of the child. So when they're passionate and they want to bring that opinion to someone who would listen, that's important. I consider myself a good listener. I consider myself trustworthy. I'm a people person. I love getting together with the Springfield community and talking about all the good things that are available to our future. I've always thought that maybe the best way to thank someone for something that they've done, something that they've given to you, the best way to thank someone is to do something for their child. So that's another reason that I feel very important about this election and what we can do for our Springfield students.
Yeah, my question is, it depends. It depends on what we're trying to decide. If it has to do with teachers or staff, for example, their contract, we need to take into account that we need to attract and retain high quality teachers and staff. So we need to ensure that we're attracting and retaining high-quality staff, and we need to be an advocate for all students and the taxpayers. I will strengthen engagement and listen to the community, and I will be an advocate for our students and an advocate, strong watchdog for our taxpayers.
There are several stakeholders I think it's important to wrap in when making decisions that are important to the district. There are the usual suspects, like parents and teachers. Parents because they have obviously a vested interest in making sure that their child is learning what they need to learn to prepare them for future challenges and lifelong success. Teachers, obviously, because they are the ones in the trenches doing the work of educating young people. And so any decision that is made at the district level, I think there needs to be buy-in and open communication with our teachers. I'm really proud to be endorsed by the SNEA Teachers Union, and I think part of that's because I am an educator and understand the importance of making sure that teachers are at the table when these decisions are being made. And then you also have your unusual suspects. Business leaders. As I mentioned before, districts has a really strong role in developing a future workforce. And I think it's really important to be in collaboration and open dialogue to what business leaders are needing so that they can actually have a well-trained and equipped population to draw from when they're looking for employees. Also laborers. I also endorsed by the Teamsters and the Central Labor Council, and it's because I believe that our laborers also deserve a seat at the table when we're making important decisions like bonds and facilities and maintenance. And so I would say those stakeholders. I think, frankly, anyone who's interested in public schools because it is a public good. So I think it's important for individuals who may not be parents or teachers or any of the traditional folks I just listed who are also really interested, because I think when you're submitting your public dollar to the government, there needs to be accountability. And so they need to have a seat at the table as well.
So when I talk to stakeholders and I'm going to consider decisions that I'm going to make on the board, I make everything in mind with students in mind, because they're what we're here for, is to educate them. And when I think about what's going to affect students, I think about teachers, I think about parents. You want to talk about the community with business leaders, and then you want to also look at anyone that may be involved outside of that has a direct impact on our school system. And when I talk to stakeholders, I'm going to be a representative for them. That's my job on the board. So speaking with teachers, speaking with administration, and speaking with parents and bringing their thoughts and their ideas to every decision I make is going to be important for moving the district forward.
The stakeholders that I consider always, every day, at the forefront of every decision are the students. My concern is for the students. They're first and foremost every time. I cannot emphasize that enough. And for that, they need a learning environment that allows them to grow, to develop, and to learn. I'm going to say that again. The stakeholders that matter the most to me are the students. Within that context, the teachers, the parents, and the community at large. But I come back always to the students. It's about what the students need, not the perception of what they need, not what the students want, not what somebody somewhere else wants. It's what the students need. That is a very fundamental distinction that needs to be made. What do they need to develop? What do they need to learn?